first official episode of Cosmic Colorado, the 14ers project. And this one is going to be all about planning. I just have to say that I wasn't sure how this project was going to go over, and when I was sharing it on Facebook, I thought a lot of people might be annoyed that I'm spamming their Facebook groups with my little passion project here, but I just have to say thank you to everybody who subscribed and gave me so much positive feedback, and it seems like there might be some really good interest for this project to actually happen, which is exciting and encouraging and also kind of scary because it means that I don't get to leave this 14ers project as an idea on my mental shelf anymore. We actually got to get to work and make it happen. And if you guys would like to follow along with this project, go to cosmic.colorado on Instagram. Give me a follow there. Let me know that you came from YouTube, and that will be where I'm going to be showing all of the photos is right there. So when we're thinking about actually photographing every 14er at night under the stars, the biggest thing that goes into this is going to be the planning for what time of night, what season, what time of year, where I'm actually going to photograph from, because some of these 14ers you can drive to the summit of, some of them you can drive to a gorgeous view of, and they're going to be very easy. And then some of them aren't. Some of them are tucked way back, miles into the back country, even to just get a decent view of it. And that really is the goal. I'm trying to take portraits of these mountains at night. I'm not just trying to, like, there it is off in the distance along this ridge line. There's this one point that's a little higher. There's your 14er. No, I wanted to be a real picture of those mountains. So there's going to be a lot of adventure coming up. Anyways, I wanted to do this first episode showing you guys how I am going to use tools on the computer to do my best to plan out these shots. We don't want to waste any time. We want to know exactly when and where we're going to go to execute each one of these shots. And then we're going to head out and do a little bit of ski skinning up to scout out a shoot for, I think, next March. But I'm going to show you guys how we plan it, and then we'll go from there. The first thing that actually my wife told me to do, and it made a lot of sense, is to make a spreadsheet of every 14er with the plan for it. So on my computer right now, this is the spreadsheet I've made. So I've listed every 14er here, and I got this information off of 14ers.com, which is a fantastic resource. It's going to be my lifeline for sure. And right now I have it organized alphabetically, but we can see in this first column here is the name of all the peaks. Here we have their rank as far as their elevation. Here's their actual elevation. Here is the range that they're in. And then this next one is going to be the type of shot, so either a Milky Way, a Star Trail, or Orion. I'm trying to limit myself to like the Milky Way core or the really pretty Bernard's Loop, Pleiades, Taurus section around Orion. I might work in a few like deep space shots where I zoom in with like a 200 or even a deeper lens and get like a nebula that also fits right in place over the mountain. The rules that I'm going to be using to kind of confine myself to keeping this authentic, I am going to be using a tracker that brings me the best star detail possible. There gets to be some kind of controversy when we're talking about using trackers, that it really opens up the possibility to fake images, make composites, make unnatural blends. But I am going to completely limit myself to taking my foregrounds and my tracked shots of the sky from the exact same location and in a very authentic, framing. I'm not going to move the sky from way over here and bring it back over here to be over the mountain. I'm going to keep it totally authentic. But thankfully, the night sky is really interesting and we can get a lot of different options. Maybe we'll throw some Andromeda in there, maybe some of different nebulas, whatever like that. That is the type of shot section here. Season, obvious, spring, summer, winter, fall. Direction shot from, so this is when I'm actually going to plan out where I'm going to set my camera, and if I'm going to be to the east, to the north, to the south, to the west, Gonna get all of my plans there. Time of night, sometimes I'll have to be there at 7 p.m. Sometimes I'll have to be there at 3 a.m. That just really depends on what time of season and what orientation we're looking at. And the final column there is the difficulty. What I expect between 1 and 5, 1 being the easiest, you can drive right to it, 5 being the nightmare ones, how challenging I expect executing these shots to be, and there will definitely be some challenging ones. So that is a little bit of behind the scenes into my spreadsheet, and I'll be filling these out as I go and plan each one of these shots. The next tool I'm using is a website called 14ers.com. This website has obviously all the 14ers, but also the routes, the summit conditions, the trip reports, the trailheads, the everything you can imagine is available on this website. So the first peak that I want to go out and scout is one that's not too far away from my house, and I've looked at it before, but I want to make a really solid plan for when, where, how to execute the shot. And that first peak is going to be Mount Bierstadt. Now this peak is considered to be in the Front Range Mountains, so the ones between the Continental Divide and the Front Range, where like Denver, Fort Collins, Boulder, Colorado Springs, and it should be one of the easier ones I have to do. You can see this from a road. I could shoot directly from my car, but I'm going to show you in a few minutes how I plan to do a little bit of traveling up onto the mountain to really get the best image. So this is the Mount Bierstadt page on 14ers.com. Here you can see all kinds of different photos, ideas for planning, so you can get the routes on this map and see exactly how to get up there from all kinds of different views. There's information about the trailheads, but I think my favorite feature here is this interactive Google Maps. And I really like this because it gives you just the information you need. So here's the summit, and you can see here's the trailhead. You can see the trail going up right there. It shows the topography map so you can get an idea of how steep everything is. And it's just really a nice, easy, convenient map. And you can see how it relates to just the essential information. You don't get too overwhelmed. So this is the main summit of Mount Bierstadt, and you can see that this trailhead's not too far away, and there's parking areas right here, so I know it's going to be fairly easy. Let's go into Google Earth and really plan out this shot. I love using Google Earth on my desktop. I think the mobile app is great, and I'm definitely going to be using it, but the desktop has one really amazing feature, which I'm going to show you guys in a moment. So just typing in Mount Bierstadt into the search here, it zooms you right into it. And then you get a similar view to that Google Maps, but this is a lot more interactive. So you can zoom right in, see the parking area, and you can see the trail that goes all the way up here. But my favorite feature about Google Earth has always been the street view. So I'm gonna drop our little street view guy right into the parking lot here. Google went with their 360 camera and captured this view. So this shows me exactly what Mount Bierstadt will look like from the parking lot. And it's a nice view, but the mountain's a little bit off in the distance, and being so far away, but also so high in elevation from your viewpoint, the mountain doesn't look terribly dramatic. So while I could shoot from here, let's see what other options we have. So I'm going to exit the street view, and right here you can see the trail to climb the mountain going up in this direction. And this is another really cool feature about the street view, is that you can enter what is called the ground view. So I can take my little guy and drop him right on the mountain there, and it will zoom in. And while this isn't exactly a photo, the 3D rendering here is pretty fantastic. So you can see being closer, it gives you another nice different perspective where it looks a lot more dramatic. But planning this out, I don't love this rolling hill, and it is shadowing a bit of the mountain here. It just may not be the most exciting foreground. But I did notice back here, there is this lake, which if I come here during the summer, could provide a really cool reflection. So I'm going to drop my street view guy right there, spin it around, And that could be interesting. While it's not the most dramatic looking mountain, getting this reflection in there could make for a really pretty photo. So if I want to be here in the summertime, once this lake is all melted out, this could be a good option. Now, the fun thing about how high elevation this lake is, it's probably about 12,000 feet up, is that it will not melt out until probably into late June, maybe early July. And by that time, the Milky Way will be much further to the south and not as much to the east, so that orientation might not work. So what else can we do? Well, I know that this is a popular backcountry skiing area, so I am pretty sure there'll be a good skin track, and even if there's not, it won't be too tough of a climb to move around this mountain area a little bit more. So I'm thinking, just from how cliffy and cool this looks, I want to be somewhere up here. I think it'll be a relatively easy skin to get up onto this mountain from the parking lot right down there. And now look at how cool this view could be. We're going to have really interesting rock formations in the foreground, interesting leading lines, and a really dramatic cliff here. And then the peak is going to look really nice sitting right up here. Now, I said before that there is a reason I like using Google Earth on the desktop. That is because if you click right up here, it will actually give you a display of what the sky will look like at different times of night. As you can see as I scroll this, now I'm doing this during the middle of winter, so the sun is right in the way of the Milky Way, but it will show that the Milky Way goes right over this position. Now, if I do want to shoot this during the winter, this also shows a really nice view of where Orion is going to line up. We see Orion right here will be right over the top of these mountains. And that might be a nice composition, but my one complaint is that Orion is super high. If I was shooting more from the west and looking towards the east, I could get Orion lower on the horizon, but this will just kind of have a lot of less interesting stars before Orion and the Pleiades and all this. So shooting from this angle and looking pretty much due south might not be the best option for Orion. Now, I can plan to shoot it with the Milky Way. I can do that by entering a date and time here, so I know the Milky Way is going to be rising starting around February, March, April. It gets going really good. So I'm going to enter into the time here, March, let's go with 28, and I'm going to go to a time, let's do 3:26, and we'll choose AM. And now we can use our slider right here, and it'll show exactly an overlay of where the Milky Way is going to be at different times of night, looking at the end of March. So I really love how this Milky Way looks. I can get it coming right out of the center of these two peaks. Now, this might not be perfectly accurate, but that's why we have to go and check in person and use photo pills with that night AR setting to see exactly how it's going to line up. But this is the way I like to use Google Earth, is through that street view or the ground view, and then adjusting the night like this gives me a lot of confidence that I know that I'm going to be able to make this happen. So I can enter things from what I've just learned into my spreadsheet here. I know that with let's go find it, Mount Bierstadt. Okay, type of shot, I want to get a Milky Way, and in the season, I want to do spring. Direction of shot, that was to the north on ridge. Time of night, that was about 3:30, so let's say 3 a.m. And the difficulty of this, it's hard not to put it at a 1 because it's so close to the road, but because there's going to be a bit of hiking and probably some skinning in the snow in the middle of the night, I probably have to leave around midnight to get there on time, I'm going to put the difficulty as a 2. So there's a simple example of how I'm going to be planning out all of these shots. So that's going to be my legwork for the next few weeks while the moon cycle is not ideal for actually shooting. All right, next we're gonna head out into the field and use photo pills and actually get a really firm idea for how and when to photograph Mount Bierstadt. First setback of the project. I knew Guanella Pass wasn't open the entire way. I was just really hoping they closed it at those parking lots, but as you can see here, that is covered with snow for several miles before the parking lot, but I knew that if I let something this small set me back this early in the project, that wouldn't be a good thing. So I threw the skins on and we're gonna make the most of it. If anyone is watching up to this point and you care about this journey, give me a keep going. Just go in the comments and type keep going, because that hike was rough and it was one of the easiest hikes I'm probably gonna have to do. This is gonna be hard. We made it to, in general, the parking area. I'm not as against the idea of shooting from the parking lot area as I was before. On Google Earth, it looked like there wasn't a lot of dimension to the mountain from this perspective. From standing right here, I think the mountain actually looks pretty cool. And I really like these little pine trees in the foreground. I think they could be a nice element to the photograph. So the first thing I'm gonna do is grab my phone, get photo pills, and see when the Milky Way will be arching right over the mountain. Okay, opening up photo pills, I'm going to go to the night AR setting and get right down here. And I'm going to adjust the time on the date to, let's go March 20th. And I'm choosing 4:36 a.m. All right, let's see what that's giving me. Okay, at 4:20 in the morning, it'll be arching right over my skis. I mean this mountain range. So that could be a really cool photo that I could aim for in the springtime. So now I know that I like how it's looking on photo pills. I can grab my camera that I'm recording with right now, and I'm going to get my focal length dialed. So I'm brought with me, and I'm recording right now on my Olympus OM1, and I brought with a couple of lenses. Now I'm probably gonna be doing most of my photography here with my modified RP from Spencer's camera, but I wanted to plan it out with the Olympus because it's lighter, easier to carry, and I can carry several lenses and know exactly what the focal length is gonna be. And I can do an easy conversion and know what my full frame equivalent is going to be. And oh my goodness, it is cold and windy up here. Okay, I don't wanna hang out up here too much longer. Grab my camera, getting this done. If you would like to support this project and the financial cost that's going to be associated with getting this book printed, please head over to my website, and there's a link down in the description. It's chasingluminance.darkroom.com, and check out the images I have there for sale. If you've ever wanted one of my shots or a new piece of decor for your home or maybe a gift, I'm doing a sale right now using the discount code 14ers, so 14ERS. That'll get you 10% off. Those profits will go directly into this project. So thank you so much. Got my Olympus, and I have my 12 to 40 millimeter lens. So this gives me a 24 to 80 full frame equivalent. I'm gonna take a couple of test shots. It is so windy. I'm gonna wander up over to this tree and try a wide angle, so at 12 millimeters, and see how that looks. Easier said than done. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm hanging out right here. All right, so I got what I think would look like a really nice composition
at about 50 millimeters. So 25 on this camera, 50 on my RP with the full frame sensor. And I definitely walking back my ideas of earlier that I said on the computer that this would look too flat. I think this image will have plenty of dimension to it. I'm trying to think of a clever way of wrapping it up out here, but honestly, I'm too cold and it's too windy. So I'll see you guys back at the office.
So what did we learn from that? Well, I think we learned that this project's going to be a little bit more challenging than I was even expecting, because the road closures and different conditions are just going to complicate things, not to mention the moon cycle, the weather cycle, the wildfire season that's going to happen. There's going to have to be a lot of things go right to actually make this project happen within a year. But we do know also that we have a good plan for Mount Bierstadt. After looking at these photos, I decided my plan of attack is going to be my modified RP, Spencer's camera, and my Sigma 50mm 1.4 art lens with the adapter. And I think I'm gonna bring along this L bracket, which will allow me to mount this camera vertically, and I'm gonna do a little bit of a panorama. So as you saw the pine trees that were in the foreground, that'll be kind of my one side. I don't know which side, probably over here. That'll be like my border here is the edge of those pine trees, and then I'll do a 3 or 4 shot vertical panorama coming this way and do the exact same for the sky. So we have a plan for Mount Bierstadt. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support, and thank you if you made it this far. That's really, really cool. You can leave me a comment down below saying I made it this far. My future episodes are not going to go into nearly this much detail about the planning. It'll be a lot more about the execution. The action should be a little bit more fun to follow along with, but I do think that this is beneficial. Show you guys completely full details behind the scene of how I'm going to plan out my 14ers Milky Way shots. Again, if you want to follow along with the images, Instagram is cosmic.colorado. Print sales at my website, links down below. Coupon code 14ers gets you 10% off. Thank you very much for that. I also have other links for you guys to check out down below. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next mountain, whatever one that might be.